The markups nowadays have changed. They're larger because more and more people throughout the world are buying coins. So, you call Midas at 877-479-8178. That's 877-479-8178. And they'll fill you in on the details of that.
Thanks for the plug for the Midas, sir. Let me simplify it. You'll have a Krugerrand that it'll say 1 ounce, but there's an ounce of gold, but it's actually above an ounce because they add some alloy in there so that it's not soft and doesn't basically deform in circulation. Whereas some mints will put out, take Mexican coins, Mexican gold. They tend to be way above an ounce, say if it's a 1 ounce gold coin. There's an ounce of gold in there, but they even put more alloy in. And so when you get into gold percentages, if it says 1/5 of an ounce, it may be above 1/5 of an ounce, but there's 1/5 of an ounce of gold in there, and then whatever above it is in the alloy. Correct, Bob?
That's correct. And it's, again, all reflected in the prices. They do it by grams. And so, they're all the same, although some coins have, bullion coins, have larger premiums than others. And you have to talk to Midas about that, and they'll tell you the differences and what the best prospective buy is for that day.
Absolutely. That offer that Ted gave here on air Wednesday of gold priced in at $770 when it was $880 as it is today. That deal is still holding, by the way, throughout the weekend. Ted told me. So again, 800-686-2237 on that main deal. The number Bob gave you can also call and get a free hard copy of the newsletter by calling that number as well, theinternationalforecaster.com. Okay, I want to be able to get these other callers in. I don't know how long Bob can stay with us. You had one other point you wanted to make, Gary?
Okay. I'm calling from, are you still there?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm calling from Naperville, Illinois. It's like 40 miles out of Chicago. Supposedly it won like the awards for the safest, best cities, economy, housing, and everything. I was out the other night, and this is just, talking about your police state. Downtown, there's only a couple of bars, like maybe 4 bars, and, people were just enjoying themselves. The cops line up in the middle of the street now. It's like 3 squad cars, 2 SUVs, and they just sit there with their lights on in the middle of the street, and they have dogs. 2 officers had dogs walking up and down the streets while these people are out at the bars. It's just like you said. It's
acclimating you to military occupation. They are a paramilitary force, and they're helping the bankers destroy their society. They have incrementally warped and twisted the police to the dark side. Bob Chapman, stay there. We'll come back in 70 seconds. Go to Matt, Barry, Brian, Kim, and others. Please stay with us. We'll be going live at prisonplanet.tv. Hello, my friends, and thank you for joining us in the 3rd and 4th hour today. We are now simulcasting live at prisonplanet.tv. Not only are we streaming this transmission out of the radio studio live, simulcasting on television, we also archive this for prisonplanet.tv members within a few hours of the show for a download. And so, again, thank you for joining us. This is the first live broadcast of the new year. It is January 2nd, 2009. We have 2 hours left spanning out before us. We've got Bob Chapman, theinternationalforecaster.com, with us for the next 20 minutes so we can finish taking your calls from Matt in the UK, Barry in California, Brian in Canada, Kim in Texas, and others. Then I'm going to get into all the hubbub about, does Barack Obama want your guns? The answer is he's voted for an absolute complete gun ban when he was a state senator in Illinois and when he was a U.S. senator. He supported, of course, the absolute gun ban in D.C., and he calls that reasonable. And so he is the most anti-gun member of the Senate, and we're going to play some clips of Joe Biden and others and their sickening statements coming up later in this hour. But right now, with Bob Chapman, let's go ahead and go back to the calls. Matt in the United Kingdom, you're on the air. Welcome.
Good afternoon, good evening, sir, and a happy gloomy New Year from us in the UK. And hello, Bob. My question is for Bob. You mentioned, obviously, about high unemployment, obviously, in the US. I don't know if you've obviously read the news on Alex's website. Basically, we just lost like 25,000 people from the Woolworths Group. I don't know if they've got any in the US. What do you reckon will happen in the UK? Do you reckon that they'll put out UK troops when the people start to realise and riot?
Let me answer that and then have Bob answer it, because I don't want to forget this point. They have announced in your major newspapers that they do have the British military ready for civil insurrection with the police, and the police have been drilling with your military quietly for decades. Now publicly that's been on British TV and in the British newspaper. And yes, Woolworths is the international department store chain. Bob Chapman, your comment.
As you've said, this has been going on for a long time. The cordon is getting tighter and tighter in the UK. Unemployment is going up. The pound is under tremendous stress from failures in the banking system. I think it's going to get considerably worse. We cover England and other countries in the international forecaster very thoroughly. And so we have a lot of up-to-date news, and we get letters from people saying, gee, I live in England and I didn't know that, which makes me feel good. But England is really in for trouble, and they have no weapons. They can't fight back. Some of these goofs even want to keep you from carrying a penknife in your pocket. Because they say the criminals are now using... No,
every week I see a story where people break in, they're raping, they're killing, and if somebody pushes a thief out a window or breaks a vase over their head, the police viciously charge them and send them to prison. I mean, what a predatory government where you can't defend yourself, the police can't and won't defend yourself, and they get very upset if a slave even fist fights back. They want the message, you're not allowed to defend yourself, and it's an island country. Look at the globalists, what they just did to Iceland. British banks owned their private central bank and just won't give the people their own deposits, and the people have been rioting successfully there against the private Federal Reserve System.
Now, that's true, and if I was living in England, I would emigrate.
Yeah, I think island nations that don't have a lot of good agriculture because of their northern climes, it is one of the worst places to live, is it not, Bob?
Absolutely. You got too many things working against you.
And you have a giant immigrant population that's been filled with by the establishment with hatred of England, so they can use the immigrant population as a weapon against the indigenous people of Britannia. All right, does that answer your question, Brian? Or
it's Matt. Yeah,
Barry.
Thanks so much, and Happy New Year to you guys.
Yeah, Happy New Year to you. Sorry to give you that news. Stay with us.
The Genesis Communications Radio Network proudly presents The Alex Jones Show, because there's a war on for your mind.
All right, folks, we're live at prisonplanet.tv on this January 2nd, 2009 edition. Bob Chapman with us for the rest of this segment. I want to go to Barry, Brian, Kim, Scott, Ronnie, James, and others right now. Then I'm going to get into a bunch of other news we haven't detailed yet, and the situation we face with the disarmament of the American people. That's what the military has been quietly trained for decades, and we're now hurtling towards that eventuality. But thank God the people have now discovered this, have now found out about it. They know about Barack Obama's voting record. And they are waking up and buying firearms and ammunition in droves. The gun culture is being revived like the phoenix out of the ashes. And I think if you have courage out there and get the word out, and if the police and military, at least portions of them, stick with the people, we may be able to avert this. But regardless, we're going into the future, and it is going to be a rocky time. Let's go ahead and go back to the calls. Let's go ahead and talk to Brian in Canada. Brian, you are on the air.
Hi, Alex.
Hello.
How are you? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you.
Holding up pretty good under Dictator Harper here, all things considered.
That's right. For those that don't know, not only are scores of towns in the United States under 24-hour curfew for the citizens, from Arkansas to Oklahoma to areas in Kentucky, and we played a clip of that on Wednesday for people that didn't believe it from CNN. Up in Canada, for now a month, the Queen has declared basically political martial law. Reuters reported that she basically secretly ran the country, and that when Parliament was getting ready to kick Harper out, she just came in and trumped them all with her ace of spades. Go ahead.
Well, I know that for myself, I made the personal decision to prorogue all of my bills and obligations until the end of January. What the heck, you know? I'd like to make some predictions on the coming year. I noticed going out and trying to procure myself some DVDs and books that up here in Canada, it looks like there's some censorship going on. I had at least 2 video stores specify to me that they had a phone call where they were requested to have Endgame, your video, Alex, sent back. So I know that things are being taken off the shelf. They're trying to put us back to sleep. I know I can let all the info warriors making comments on the internet know that they'll continue to be harassed. They'll continue to block you, and they'll continue to actually try and copy us like somebody tried to do to me this year. I caught him with my French, so I enjoyed that one quite a bit.